Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'd like to welcome devotees. Thank you so much for coming today. And we have a wonderful topic today, which is why Krishna was playing the flute and wearing a peacock feather. Very unusual occupation for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there's very interesting reasons why. So I'd like to seek your good wishes and your blessings so that we can explore this incredible topic. And we can start with the Brahma Samhita. This is a verse in the 5th chapter, 30th verse, which describes Krishna's pastimes playing the flute. Venam kvanam tamaravinda dalayatacham bhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam kandapakoti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids.
Jai. So, what are the reasons why Krishna plays the flute? We're going to dive straight into it. Okay. So, Rupa Goswami, he says, anybody want to have a guess? Why do you think Krishna plays the flute? It doesn't have to be a scriptural reference.
Haribol, I think it's one of these 64 qualities of Krishna, playing flute.
Yeah, that's true. Amita Krishna?
To attract, rather.
To attract, rather? Yeah. That's a good one, actually. Yeah, that's a good one. You're right about that. You're right. But sometimes, he goes into the forest and he just plays it to himself. Nobody around. So, anybody else want to have a crack? Surrender?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, it is explained. Gayatri Muralista Kirtana Dhanam Radha Padam Dhimahi. The flute of Krishna is glorifying Srimati Radharani.
Nice.
Glorification of Srimati Radharani.
Very, very nice.
Gayatri Muralista Kirtana Dhanam Radha Padam Dhimahi.
That's really, really nice. Where did you get that verse from?
Is from our Param Gurudev explanation about the Gayatri Mantra.
Oh,
Maharaj, he explained the meaning of Gayatri.
Okay. And you've taken Gayatri initiation, huh?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Very good. Very good. Actually, we're going to do some Gayatri Mantra seminars, and I'll let you know when we do them.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, anybody else? Why does Krishna play the flute?
He calls the cows.
Because of the cows? Yeah, that's a good one as well. He calls the cows. Anybody else? Why does Krishna play the flute? Kids. All right. Rupa Goswami, right? Really technical reason.
To connect.
Oh, Suresh, Hare Krishna, how are you doing?
Hare Krishna, how are you? All right.
Good, very good. Welcome. To connect. Yes, yeah, absolutely. But he plays it only because he loves to play. He
loves us, that's why.
Yeah, and he loves to play the flute. That's it. Simple as that. He just loves it. But he
loves us.
He loves us as well, yes. But he loves the flute as well.
That's right.
But he absolutely, what you said, he loves us, he calls the cows, he attracts rather, they're all absolutely right. He uses his flute, first and foremost, to smack his friends.
If people are asleep, he wakes them up.
Especially Vishal. Well, with Vishal is one of his closest buddies, and they just have incredible fun. And one of the things Krishna does is beats him up with the flute. Sometimes he plays the flute to make the demons dizzy. And as Karuna said, he calls the cows in groups by various tunes from the flute. And it happens that sometimes the cows don't come. They don't turn up. Why they don't turn up? Anybody know the reason? Why the cows sometimes don't come when Krishna plays the flute?
We want
Is
to
it because
know them by their names.
Ah, yeah. What were you going to say, Kamakshi?
I was going to say that cows don't come because they want their Krishna to keep playing it continuously.
Yeah, that's there as well. But what Karuna said, they want to hear their names spoken. When Krishna says, Gomati, Gomata becomes so happy and runs towards Krishna. So yeah, sometimes they don't come, but usually they follow Krishna's order because they love Krishna so much. They won't disobey him. But some of them are a little bit, they want a little bit more mercy. So they make Krishna work a little harder. So this is where Krishna's calling the cows, playing with the cows. And Krishna would play on any of his flutes. We'll see there's a number of flutes when they're needed. And he uses the Venu flute to attract the gopis. Venam Kwanantam, that's the verse we just recited. So this is the one when we'll see a little bit later how when he plays that, the gopis lose all reasoning and they just run to Krishna, no matter what they're doing. Oh, here it is, in fact. So when he does play the flute, there he is in the corner. If they're feeding their child, or they're serving the elders, or they're changing, or putting makeup on, or whatever they're doing, they just leave it and they run towards Krishna. Sometimes it's described in the Bhagavatam that they wear their top piece in the bottom and the bottom piece at the top. They just lose all sense of thinking when they hear the flute, especially this. I think it's the sixth note. I'm not sure, but we'll see it later. When he plays that, it just completely bewilders the gopis, and they lose control over themselves, and they just run to Krishna. This is their love for Krishna. This is their great love for Krishna. And his love for them, like Suresh said, his love for them, he plays the flute to attract them, to bring them closer to him. And then they do the Ras Leela after a little bit of teasing by Krishna.
That's how he calls them.
Yes, that's how he calls them. So the reasons why he plays the flute, Krishna would use the flute for many reasons: playing, pleasing, reciprocating, calling, pacifying his devotees. And it depends on the time of day as well. In the morning, he would play the flute very excitedly because it's time to go to the forest and to play with his friends and to be with the cows. That was his occupation. He was a cowherd boy. Eternal occupation of Krishna. He loves the cows. As we saw last week, he can't live without cows. And as that Maharaj said, how can we, if Krishna can't live without cows, how can we? So it's really interesting. So when he's going to the forest with the gopas and the cows, he's very, very excited. So he plays the flute in the same way. Very, very nice. There he is. And of course, the gopis, they're heartbroken. They're seeing Krishna wander off with the gopas and the gomatas. And they're completely heartbroken. They're not going to see Krishna all day. And the gopas, they're very, very excited. And the gomatas, extraordinary. They'll be jumping up and down near Krishna. And Krishna and the gopas, they would play, including the divine monkeys. And then the afternoon, Krishna plays, he reciprocates with the plants, the trees, the birds, the animals, letting them know that he has noticed them and he loves them all. So this is the point Suresh made. It's a fantastic point, actually. He loves us all. He loves us all. Very important point to understand. There's nobody he doesn't love. Whether it's the yogi, whether it's the bhakta, whether it's a terrorist, it's just that that person might be on the wrong path. He doesn't love them any less. Right? That's good to know as well, because we often go down the wrong path. But it's good to know that he's always going to be there for us, even when we go down the wrong path. And he'll correct us and bring us back onto the right path. And when he plays the flute, especially in the afternoon, everybody gets stunned. The nature of the way he plays in the afternoon is such that it's mesmerizing. His love is going into the flute. His love for the animals, the birds, the living entities. So that's why everybody gets stunned. When they hear the flute, they just can't do anything. They're just hearing. Even the rivers start to flow backwards. So it's quite extraordinary. It said when Krishna walks down the path, the flowers blossom, even if it's not the right season. This is the impact Krishna has. Let's see here. They're all stunned. Wow. He's playing with his full love for everybody with the flute. Sometimes he just goes off on his own. And he loves the sound so much, he'll just play to himself. No ulterior motive. Because Krishna always has some motive. But sometimes he would just play because he loves the flute so much. If you see this picture, this is really one of the most extraordinary pictures, drawing, paintings that has been done. Because you see the water is jumping up just to try to catch his lotus feet. The deer, they just want to get close to Krishna. Gomata's there. It's a really extraordinary picture, this one. The birds, everybody is so attracted to the all attractive. And evening time, Krishna plays happily because the Brijabasis, they're looking forward to seeing him. And he's looking forward to seeing them. Especially, he's looking forward to seeing the gopis. And it's sad. It's sad for the forest at that time. Sad for the gopas, because they're not going to see Krishna all night. So that time, Krishna is about 6 years old when he comes back to the, when he's taking the cows and he's bringing them back from the field back home. And the gopis are so ecstatic. They're going to see Krishna. They've been sad all day. And they just surround him. And he's always got his flute around with him. Anytime he may just blow it and who knows what's going to happen. Even when he was lifting Govardhan, he didn't leave his flute. He had a hard task on his hands, but he didn't leave the flute. Now, there was another reason why, I don't know why I haven't got it here, but anyway, Krishna was so attracted to the sound of his flute playing that he would often climb a tree and play to himself. The sound is so attractive. It attracts the all attractive. So this is really amazing. Other reasons why Krishna plays. So he initiated Lord Brahma into the Gayatri mantra. Lord Brahma came from the lotus flower of Garbho Dakshai Vishnu. Is that right? Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, that's right. So there's Karana Dakshai Vishnu who, when he breathes out, all the universes come out. And then he expands himself as Garbho Dakshai Vishnu into every universe. And from him, a lotus flower stems from his navel. And on top of the lotus flower is Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma he's very surprised, he's shocked. What's going on here? What do I do? I don't know what to do. So he meditates for 1,000 years. And then he still doesn't know what to do. He goes down the stem of the lotus to find something to help him. He still can't do anything. Then eventually again he meditates. He gets a message, tapa, tapa, austerity. So he meditates. Then he gets the flute. He gets the sound of the flute, the Gayatri mantra, as Surendra was mentioning. The Gayatri mantra is chanted into his ear by Krishna through the flute. So Krishna initiates Lord Brahma through the flute. Krishna would often perform a concert in front of the Brajvasis. And this would be one incredible concert. You can just imagine Krishna doing a concert with his flute. It must be the most extraordinary concert. But this is almost a daily occurrence in Vrindavan. In front of the Brajvasis, Krishna would entertain them with his flute playing. Really extraordinary. The flute has 6 holes. And that has some significance as well. If one becomes free from these 6 anathas that unfortunately we possess, lust, anger, greed, attachment, envy, pride, if we get free of those, then Krishna will also play us like a flute. He'll take charge and he'll do things through us if he wants to. The flute is straightforward. What goes in, comes out. So Krishna loves that. He loves straight. He himself is not straightforward, but he loves the devotees who are straightforward. That's why when a devotee makes a promise, Krishna fulfills it, because a devotee is straightforward. Krishna may or may not be straightforward, right? Because he loves to do Leela. He loves Leela. And we love Leela. So we love to hear his crookedness. That crookedness is no ordinary crookedness. It's transcendental crookedness. The Almighty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. There's no question of him being duplicitous or not straightforward. He's always, in every dealing, he's straightforward. But he can enact pastimes which look as if they're not straightforward, but actually they're straightforward. But when we hear those pastimes and we snigger at Krishna, we love Krishna, we get even more attached to his sweetness. So he does these nefarious, so-called nefarious activities. This flute, straightforward. What comes in, comes out. So why is the flute, before we go to why is the flute received the mercy, we've been doing this over the last few days anyway, but just as a quick revision, how many qualities does Lord Brahma possess? Anybody remember?
Is it 55?
Hello, 50, yeah, 50, that's right. And he possesses them in full, right? These 50 qualities we also have, but they're a little diluted because of our interaction with the material nature, Maya, the 3 modes, dilute the qualities of those 50 qualities within us. And when we become a little bit more spiritually conscious, those 50 qualities manifest themselves automatically in time. When the soul has those 50 qualities in full, he is regarded to be Brahma. He's given that position of Brahma. Now, so then, what do we have to add? How many more do we have to add to get to the position of Lord Shiva? Of course, we can't get to the position or Lord Shiva possesses extra qualities which make him Lord Shiva. How many is that? How many more?
55, so 5 more.
Very good. 5 more. Excellent. Oh, well done. Was that Ketan?
Amita Krishna.
I always get you two confused.
You got it right as well.
And we'll give the answer.
I remember one time I was having a conversation. I was thinking it was with the father, but it was with the kitten, you know,
The son.
his son. And I was talking for about 20 minutes, and and luckily I didn't reveal anything, but that was quite incredible. So yes, 5. Add another 5, and somewhere I have a list of these qualities, but I don't know where I've put it. Add another 5, and that is the position of Lord Shiva. Now, Krishna or Vishnu's position is even higher. And if you add another, how many?
5.
5.
5.
Yeah, you get to 60. So that 60 is Vishnu's position. So not even Lord Shiva can attain the position of Vishnu. And Krishna possesses another 5. Another 4, sorry, 4.
4, 64.
64, thank you. Now those 4, I think I remember. Anybody remember what those extra 4 qualities are that even Vishnu doesn't possess?
I think the one is playing the flute.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one. Very good. He can play the flute like nobody else. Nobody else. Very good. Anybody remember the other 3?
Prabhuji, is there some marks on his feet?
That Vishnu has as well, but you're right. Krishna has a little bit more, but that's not one of the 3.
Friend of everyone.
Friend.
It's nearly there.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody? Yeah, go on, Amita Krishna. Any
Sweet form.
sweet?
Form.
The way he stands.
Sweet form. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vibhangana.
3 bending form.
Sweet pastimes.
Sweet pastimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Extraordinary.
Pastimes.
He's the only, sorry?
Sweet associates.
Yes,
That's
his
it,
devotees.
Yeah, his devotees.
So-
Most amazing devotees.
Amazing. So what was that? What was the flute, amazing devotees, sweetest pastimes? What was the 4th one?
Rupam.
3 bending
Sweet
form.
form.
3
Right.
bending form.
I can't remember that one. But anyway, so just in terms of the sweet pastimes, there is no incarnation, there is no Lord that is chased by his own mother. This is one of the sweetest pastimes. You won't see that pastime in Ram Leela, Vishnu Leela, Nrsimha Leela, Vaman Leela. That is why he's considered extraordinary, because his pastimes surpass the pastimes of any avatar. Because he allows himself to be controlled by his devotees. So then we come to this other quality that no other Lord possesses. And that is, he has the most extraordinary devotees who can control him. So this is unique. This is the uniqueness. He's a supreme Lord, but he behaves like the controlled in the hands of the devotee.
I think he's the best dancer.
Best dancer. I think that's correct. Yeah, he dances like nobody else. That's right. So anyway, yes, the flute is one of them. So thank you for that, Kamakshi. So why does the flute get this mercy? If you see, the flute is always at the lips of Krishna, right? One day, Krishna rushed into the garden, very alarmed. He went to the bamboo plant and said, "I have something to ask you, but it's very difficult." The bamboo said, "Tell me. If I can, I will give it to you." So Krishna said, "I need your life. I need to cut you." That's quite an ask, eh? The bamboo thought for a while and then said, "You don't have any other choice?" To Krishna. "You don't have any other way?" Krishna said, "No, no other way." And then the bamboo said, "Okay, you can have me. You can kill me. You can cut me." So Krishna cut the bamboo, made holes into it. And each time when he was doing that, the bamboo was crying with pain. Krishna made a beautiful flute out of it. And this flute was with Krishna all the time. Even the gopis, were jealous of the flute. They said, "Look, Krishna is our Lord. And yet we get to spend only some time with him. he wakes up with you. They're talking to the flute, right? They're really jealous. He sleeps with you. All the time, you're with him. So one day they asked the flute, tell us the secret.
The bamboo.
They asked the bamboo, tell us the secret. What secret do you have that the Lord treasures you so much, even though there is nothing attractive about you? What's attractive about a bit of wood with holes in it, right? You throw it away. Normally, the bamboo said, you're right. I have no attractive features. I can't even create music. It's the player who does. But the secret is I am empty inside of my ego and have a purified mind and allowed the Lord to do whatever he wanted with me. I surrendered to him. I surrendered to him. So there's an example of this flute. And there's some devotees who believe actually that this person is an incarnation of Krishna's flute. Can anybody guess who that person is? Can you guess who that person is that
Murti.
Krishna played like the flute? He's the most dear person to us. She got me the incarnation of a flute.
I know.
Anybody? We wouldn't be here without him.
Spiritual master?
Nearly.
Yes. Shiksha Guru, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, no ego, right? He left on the ship on the age of 70. He could have just stayed in Vrindavan, right? He could have just done nothing. He was already perfect. There was nothing he had to do. He was already with Krishna. But Krishna asked him, right? You have to go. And he said to Krishna, why do I have to go? You have to go. You have to save these people. But he also promised him, you will never forget me. And Prabhupada agreed. So some people do actually believe that Prabhupada is the incarnation of the flute. Because he was just like the flute. He was empty inside of any ego. He had a purified mind and he was completely surrendered to Krishna. And he did whatever Krishna wanted. So we are really fortunate. And this is what we can aspire to as well. Get rid of the ego. Just serve the Lord with a purified mind. Surrender to him. It's an amazing position to be in. Types of flutes. Krishna had different flutes and he played different melodies for different purposes. Mainly there were 3 kinds of flutes used by Krishna. And this is in the Nectar of Devotion, the Upadesh Amrit. There's the Venu. It's very small, not more than 6 inches long, with 6 holes for whistling. There's the Murali. It's about 18 inches long, with a hole at the end, and 4 holes on the body of the flute. There's the Vamsi. It's about 15 inches long, with 9 holes on its body. These flutes were sometimes decked with jewels. Sometimes they were made of marble, sometimes of hollow bamboo. When the flute is made of jewels, it is called Samohini. And when it's made of gold, it is called Akashini. Very interesting. So this flute sound is also regarded to be the Mahamantra. So the flute goes everywhere with Krishna. Even when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Srila Prabhupada explained, Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The flute came as the Madanga. And the flute sound came as the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So this is really interesting. This flute is such an important part of Krishna's life. Even as Mahaprabhu, he brought the Madanga and the Maha Mantra. Now, Karuna, do you remember? I think we've talked about it before. I'm not sure why my notes are a little bit. Some things are missing. Do you remember Saregama, and one of the notes relates to the gopis? Was it?
Sixth one.
Hmm.
No,
No. Yeah, I just see if I got another. Are there any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to know more? Let's see if I can find. Krishna's flute. Here it is. I'll just have a quick look at. Okay. So, you know, those four qualities, he is able to manifest wonderful pastimes. That's one of the things that distinguishes. Surrounded by the most loving devotees. He has unparalleled personal beauty. This is the third one. And the fourth is he is expert at transcendental flute playing. So that was good. And let me just check this point. Okay, got it. The effect of Krishna's flute playing. This is given in by Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion, Upadeshamrit. He says there's 8 notes, and the first note has many effects. So what's the first note, Karuna?
Sa.
Lord Shiva feels dizzy.
No.
And he dances out of step. His drumming is out of tune. So when he hears that flute, that's what happens. The 4 Kumaras, they lose their meditation. Lord Brahma forgets who he is and what he does. Ananta Dev, incarnation of Krishna, he sways his head like in hypnosis and feels the planets on his head will fall. And Indra falls off his Airavat elephant, and he pays obeisances. So that's just the first note, okay? What's the second note?
Re.
Okay, that makes the Yamuna flows backwards. That's the second note. Third note?
Ga.
Ga.
Sorry?
Ga.
Ga, yeah. That makes the moon freeze and stop moving. Oops. Next one. The fourth note. What's the fourth note?
Ma.
Saregama.
Ma.
He makes the cows run to Krishna and get stunned listening to the flute. So that's the fourth note belongs to the cows. The fifth note, and what is that?
Pa.
Pa.
Okay. It attracts the gopis and makes them come running to him. So it's the fifth note that gets the gopis. When he plays on the fifth note, they lose consciousness. They lose any sense of any intelligence. They'll just run to Krishna. Sixth note, what is that?
Dha.
Ta.
The stones melt and creates the autumn season. Seventh note?
Ni.
Ni.
Makes all the 6 seasons come at all at once and any combinations. And then the final note. Who's that one for? Who do you think that one is for? The final note.
Radharani.
It's exclusively for Radharani. It takes her name and calls for her, and she comes running to him, putting her clothes the wrong way around in the mascara as well. So these are the 8 notes. So this Sarigama, it comes from Krishna himself. He plays it. So it's very interesting. Very interesting. So,
Is that why the cows go moo?
yeah,
Mm.
that's
Sorry, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare
It's
Krishna.
me, Madhusudan.
Hare
Wow.
Krishna.
No, that I was wondering why the cows go moo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Good connection.
Mm.
Good connection. Like it. Nice one. Okay. Okay. So that's that. Any questions, any comments about the flutes of Krishna? Okay. So let's go to the peacock feather now. And of course, he's known as Murali, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
A great flute player.
And Vamsi.
And Vamsi. So he's even named after the flute. So he's very, very attracted to the flute. How is it that Krishna wears a peacock feather? Okay, so one afternoon near Govardhan Hill, Krishna woke up the Gopas after resting with a wonderful melody on his flute. So he was playing the flute, right? After he woke up and he was playing the flute. And when that melody came up, this enchanted the peacocks to dance. So they danced. Krishna also joined them and they danced for a very long time. It was a festival which entranced everybody. So the peacocks were dancing, the Gopas were dancing, Krishna was dancing, Balaram was dancing, everybody was dancing because Krishna was playing a melodious flute, a melody on the flute. And after that festival finished, the king of the peacocks came to Krishna and he offered him a feather and he requested him, please, wear this on your turban. And observing the humility of the peacock, Krishna accepted. And since that day, he's always wore a peacock feather. This is a really fascinating pastime of Krishna with the peacock. The peacock feather is beautiful. The colors, the shape, everything is so sublime. And in many traditions, actually, the peacock symbolizes compassion, wisdom, love, beauty. In the Greek tradition, the eye of the peacock symbolizes knowing everything, similar to Lord Shiva's third eye. In the Bhakti tradition, it symbolizes immortality. The peacock can eat even poisonous plants and snakes and survive. So peacock is regarded to be very strong. Krishna likes the peacock because he was also poisoned by Putana and also by Kaliya in the Yamuna. So he appreciates what the peacock is like. He went through the same. The peacock feather also represents purity and the ability to take poison without being harmed. We have poison in our own minds, lust, etc. So peacock is an example to us of purity. So it's really quite nice comments about the peacock feather. So why does Krishna always wear a peacock feather? There's a pastime when Radha turned into a peacock and Krishna became a snake. And Krishna challenged Radha to catch him, but she could not find him. Eventually she caught him and Radha asked for a reward. So Krishna said, he will always wear a peacock feather on his crown because she won. He loves her more than himself, and she represents the highest level of bhakti. In this way, even if Radha is not next to Krishna, if the peacock feather is on his crown, he will just be close to Radha because the peacock feather reminds him of Radharani, especially this one pastime that they had, which is very, very nice pastime they had. No. And then there's another pastime when Radharani was really upset with Krishna and she went to the Man Mandir. And Krishna knew if she goes to the Man Mandir, that means she's angry. So at that time, um, Krishna, to appease Radharani's anger, to get her in a good mood, he turned himself into a peacock, and he danced in front of Radharani, and Radharani's heart melted, and she actually became a peahen, and they danced together for a very, very long time. So this was one of the special pastimes that took place in Vrindavan. So that's the pastimes of, I think that's it, yeah. Pastimes of Krishna, as why he wears a peacock feather and why he always is playing the flute. Anybody like to add anything to what we just said? Any questions? Anybody like to ask? Everybody asleep?
No, Prabhu, very interesting. I didn't know anything about the notes connecting so much to the gopis and cows and everything.
I'm sure you do know.
No, no.
Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, sorry, Hare Krishna to everyone. Just in connection with the musical notes, and I don't know very much. I can just only play one or two tunes of Hare Krishna on the harmonium. And then I had to learn Sarigama Padani, Sarigama. So I know a little bit about the notes, and I know that the ragas, and Karuna Bandari is probably more expert and knows about the classical ragas and knows all these different types of ragas. And in connection with this, there was, because these ragas and this, especially the ragas that come from the spiritual sound, and these devotees know the intricate kind of ragas that are in the spiritual world and all that, and then they're on a totally different level. So I wouldn't understand, but there's pastime about Bankabihari, the deities of Bankabihari, and the Hardas, isn't it? Hardas, who was who the Bankabihari deities manifest in front of him, but he never possessed anything. All he had was just this Bankabihari deities, and he would serve them. That's it. He lived very simply and all that. And during his pastimes, it was that Akbar, Mughals time, and Tanseng was one of the best musicians as well. So as the Akbar had this habit of calling the best into his darbar and have them perform different things and all that. So he was very much interested in classical, the music and the ragas and all that. So Tanseng was one of the best actually. And there were other musicians who were a bit jealous, so they would complain to Akbar and say, Tanseng is actually not singing a particular raga that he's expert in. He doesn't actually do all this. He said, no, why not? Then he said, I don't know the name of these ragas and I wouldn't understand, but all I understand is the pastime that I heard about. Is it okay if I go on for a little bit, or it's your time? Or I can just mention at the moment. I mean, I haven't got all my notes, and I'm just doing this on top of my head as I remember it, And so Tanseng was he was asked by Akbar. He said, "Why aren't you singing these particular ragas?" He said, "No, if I sing these ragas, they would generate so much energy and so much heat that everything around me and my own body and my everything would go into a total heat, and I would have to know this other particular raga to counteract that and calm myself down and all that." So these ragas have amazing quality that unless you're an expert, you would know how to play these ragas, how to the other type of ragas to counteract certain kind of ragas. So when we talk about Krishna's flute and all that, even just a little note can attract and reveal the Lord Shiva. So forget about, you know, some of these ragas that some of the devotees know. So Tansing was forced by Akbar to sing this particular raga. He said, no, but if I do this, I'll be in trouble. You know, you don't realize, you know, what would happen. But Tansing was very good. You know, he had already, he was master of, and Akbar was proclaiming him to be the best in classical music and ragas and all. But Tansing was very humble. He said, no, I'm nothing actually, you know. So then, you know, he said, you know, that there is somebody who is more greater than me who can play these ragas. So what actually happened is that he was forced to play this particular raga, and they kept thousands of candles all around him so that some of the heat would not manifest itself, and see what the effect is. So when he actually did sing this particular raga, his body became so afflicted with kind of heat and generate, he wouldn't know what to do now. And all the candles around him actually lit up, and you know, by the energy and all that. So then he had to run and dive into a pond, and he had to dive into lakes. He was running through forests, or trying to find a way. And then suddenly there were two women, two devotees. Said they saw him, and they said, "See that dancing? He's suffering. He's been afflicted, or he's suffering from the effect of that raga, you know." So Tansen went to them and said, "How do you know that I'm suffering from that? Actually, you know. So what is it you know?" He said, "The only way you can know the cure of this is actually go to Haridas in Vrindavan, who serves Banke Bihari, and go to him and learn what you know to how to counteract this." Stan Singh then goes to Haridas in Vrindavan and learns those different ragas. Then he realizes that he is nothing compared to what Haridas is. You know, his ragas and his tunes and how he pleases Banke Bihari with his sort of songs. They devotees do this in very intricate way. You know, they don't expose themselves. You know, just like some of the musicians, just like the flute in Vrindavan, how that pleases Krishna, and Krishna plays these notes and sounds and ragas and all that. So we wouldn't understand all that, but this is what I understand anyway. So Haridas then takes dancing as a student, then he goes back. He's playing some more in Akbar's darbar, like he used to, and then Akbar proclaims him to be even greater now. He said, somehow you're even more powerful. You are the best. He said, no. He said, I'm nothing. You haven't even heard some of the best in ragas. And then he tells him about Haridas in Vrindavan. So Akbar actually wanted to go and meet Haridas, but Tansing said he won't see you. He said, he won't see any politicians or leaders like you and all that. He's not interested. He only serves his deities, Banke Bihari, and he has nothing. And generally, Haridas had everything because he was serving Lord Krishna. He had everything. He didn't need anything. He didn't want anything anyway as well. But then Akbar goes to see Tansing, takes Akbar in disguise. He said, I'll come in a disguise, and I'll come and meet Haridas. So if they go in a disguise, Tansing goes inside and meets Haridas, bows down, pays his respects and everything. Akbar is outside in the and then when Tansing comes in, Haridas says, "You sing a raga and all that." So when they're both singing, Tansing deliberately makes a little mistake, and Haridas catches him out and says, "Why are you doing this? Why are you singing this rag?" And so he makes Haridas corrects him, but Akbar listens to all that, and then he realizes that, oh, this guy is amazing, this is amazing. So then Haridas knows that Akbar is outside. He said, "Who is outside anyway? Why are you, somebody is outside there. Just call him inside in then, So then he calls him inside. They pay respect, and Akbar then he bows down to Haridas. He said, I'm amazed at your talent and your music, ragas. I wouldn't understand some of these, but I can give you anything you want. You know, what do you want? Why are you living in this little jupani? I can give you whatever. I said, Haridas, I've got everything I want. I don't need it. He said, but I can give you anything. Come, go on. He said, I'm the emperor here. And I said, you know, what I can get from my lordship, you wouldn't be able to meet. You know. So Akbar, anyway, he said, if I can do anything for you, let me know then. He said, oh, okay, well, Haridas was amazing. Anyway, he was already living in Vrindavan. They know what this Vrindavan is like. And so he said, okay, go on. If at all you want to do something for me, there is a little step, you know, in Vrindavan by Yamuna. There's a little step that is chipped, you know, the corner of it is actually just chipped a little bit. So see if you can fix that. And Akbar said, well, what is he asking for? He said, I can give him amazing things if he wanted, but he's asking just for, so okay, let me check out, you know, what is this step? Where is this step you want me to fix? Then he sends, Haridas sends one of his disciples to go and show him. And when Akbar goes and sees that step on that Yamuna River step, he actually doesn't see the step. He sees that that step is made out of chintamani, diamonds. And he sees this, he said, I can't even afford to do anything with this step. I haven't got that much wealth. Even thousands of Akbar put together, their wealth wouldn't be able to fix these kind of steps. So somehow Haridas was trying to reveal to him, you know. But Tanseng certainly, you know, was a great musician, you know, and understood all these different ragas. And you know, this is like Haridas. Even today, you know, you go to Banke Bihari temple, they always mention Haridas. Haridas is associated with Banke Bihari temple. So I don't know very much about this, but I mean, I've been to Banke Bihari once or twice, but I didn't know much about Haridas but there's amazing pastimes anyway associated with Banke Bihari. But the ragas, you know, what I was coming to is that the music and the raga can have so much effect. And that's why you know, those, I mean, Karuna Banda would be able to tell more these, you know, different ragas, the morning, evening, this, that. So the Vedas are full of these ragas, music and all that. There's another aspect of the Vedic and the Sanatana Dharma, which is given to the world. Amazing. But the Hare Krishna mantra itself is a spiritual sound that comes from the spiritual world, which is in itself is non-different from Krishna. So when you said about the flute, and the sound that comes from is the Maha Mantra itself. So we're fortunate that, you know, Prabhupada has made it accessible and has explained the meaning of and the Maha Mantra, and so just keep chanting Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Sorry if I've gone on for a bit.
That's right. No, thank you.
Longer than I've been. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Anybody else? Okay, so let's go to the next.